So this is the Edison Concert Works. It's a 5-inch format machine. This is the Edison automatic reproducer. At the time, in the 1890s, the medium that vibrated to make the sound is known as French glass. The glass diaphragm, my version of the story, is that I bet that Thomas Edison was working with a microscope and he was using some round cover slips. Oh, probably, during like 1887 or shortly after he moved to the new West Orange laboratory. I believe that he's told one of his assistants he had a 33 millimeter glass round cover slip from the Carl Zeiss Company from Germany, and he probably had bunches of them around the laboratory for looking at things under the microscope for the cover slips, and he probably gave it to his assistant to try, and it worked. It sounded really good, and that probably is why they chose the same size of a 33 millimeter, 1 5/16 inch glass diaphragm for the reproducer. Now we look at the record itself. These are 5-inch brown wax records. So we're going to play 2 Sousa selections, and it's interesting about the concert record, the format itself was actually intended only for mastering purposes. That is, to make the original recording from which commercial recordings were to be made from. Somehow, some way, the American Graphophone Company had spies that infiltrated into Edison's record plant and duplicating system, which duplicating of cylinders was highly secretive. And the thing about it is that Edison was using a pantograph machine. They used a 5-inch diameter record to make the standard size brown wax. The standard size, you can hear, wait a second. I like to be improv, so this is a regular size brown wax record, and you can see the difference. That way you can see in the video the difference in size. So this is a standard brown wax size record. And this is the concert. So you can imagine that there's a machine that has 2 mandrels on it, like that. They'd be close together, probably about that distance apart, but they'd be, exactly like that. And there would be another shaft and another mandrel, and then the carriage kind of was flat across here, and there was a spring-loaded device that had a recording stylus up here and a playback stylus down there. There was the 2 weights, like the standard speaker has, the 2 weights, and they would be with a little spring tension to be apart, and there's also an adjustment to make the tension more or less to get a better tracking from the concert record to the standard record, and that's how they were made. And there's some masters that were actually metal, like copper versions of 5-inch records as the master. So Columbia came out with the concert, or a Grand rather, 5-inch cylinder, the 5-inch Grand cylinder in 1898, and I suspect Edison was using it for masters probably, in the mid 1890s, maybe 1894, 1895, somewhere in there, maybe as late as 1897. I'll have to go through the notes, and actually I'm kind of curious now to find out if I could find information of when he used 5-inch records first as masters to make the commercial normal size records from. So That's how they commercially made the records. But yeah, Columbia had the Graphophone Grand machine, which was $300 in 1898, and the 5-inch records were $5 a piece. If you weigh these out, these weigh 300 grams. The wax weight, the record weight is 300 grams, while a standard record is about 100 grams of wax. I mean, in the finished record. That means that these were probably around 600 grams or 500 grams of wax for the 5-inch record. The blank itself, before any trimming or anything or shaving was done on it. You could still buy concert records from Edison Company. They would custom make the records for you into the 1910s. The Edison concert machine came out in early 1899, about February of 1899, and was $125, and then later marked down to $75 later on. And the records eventually, during about 1902, or when molded records came out, the price of the 5-inch records was reduced to 75 cents. And they pretty much, Edison anyway, always made, I'm not sure when Columbia stopped making the 5-inch records. If any of you know, please leave it in the comments below. Don't be afraid to ask questions in the comments. Or if you want to be a little snarky, that's alright too. Being that way sometimes actually can answer questions. Maybe we both can figure something out. So some of the people I've been snarky with in the past have taught me things, and I've taught them things. So sometimes it's actually helpful to be a little snarky. But anyway, yeah, if you could find out when Edison started using 5-inch masters, that'd be great. So, yeah, this is the automatic reproducer, which came out about 1892. It was used up to about 1901. And the titles, you could get it to the 1910s. But Edison concert records were brown wax. And by that time, they pantographed them the opposite. They use these as the masters and the standard size as the copy. While they just simply reversed it. The cutting stylus was on the concert, and the playback stylus was on a regular gold molded record. So by this time, that's what you would hear. And this is we're doing a 2 Sousa March special. Let me get this on here better. Okay, there we are.
By the Edison Military Band.
song is John Philip Sousa song, and it's played by the Edison Band, the Edison Military Band. Over which box? Find out which box I put it in. I think it might be. No, it's not that box. Yeah, it's this box. So we're going to hear another Sousa selection as recorded at a lower speed than this one. This is a Columbia Grand 5-inch record. And as I am told by the collectors, it's a 5-inch record. Just call it a 5-inch record. Okay, I will call it a 5-inch record. I want to note this, that you can tell a Columbia record from an Edison by the beveled end. Edisons do not have this nice beveled end on them. The Columbias do. So this is a Columbia Phonograph Company, or American Graphophone Company record.
Columbia Phonograph Company of New York and London.
So, I hope you enjoyed that. I want to show you this real quick. As I showed you the difference in the ends on the Columbia Grand records, it's beveled. So, let's look at Edison one real closely. Again, it's beveled on the end. And an Edison. This is an Edison brown wax concert record. You notice it's just rounded over. it's not beveled or angled at all. So that's the difference. They both have double spiral. They both start in two places. They start there and then over here. So they are double spiral, both Edison and Columbia, when it comes to the 5-inch record. And there's a couple of little variations in these boxes. This lid does not have Edison's picture, and this one does not have the string. So, and then this actually has a really nice label though on it. The last patent date is September 11th, 1900. This is a really nice label on that one, pretty much. And there's another variation that has this little, says, notice to dealers, all Edison records are sold under restriction as the dealers to whom, and the prices at which they may be sold. Any violation of those restrictions will make any subsequent user or vendor an infringer of the Edison patents licensed for direct reproduction of sound only and not for duplication. Patented May 9th, 1890, April 2nd, 1888, May 9th, 1888, April 2nd, 1889, November 12th, 1889, June 17th, 1890, October 18th, 1892, May 8th, 1900, and September 11th, 1900. So, this is probably from around 1901 or so. So 1900, 1901, they all seem to have, these Edison records all seem to have a 1901 or 1900 date on them. This one also has the September 11th, 1900 date on it. And so we can guess that most of these are around 1901 to 1903 or so, or maybe even later than that. As I said, the earlier ones, they were direct recordings, and later on they were pantographed off of molded records when molded records came out. So I hope you enjoyed our Sousa selections.